by way of the greatest company in the world, All Def Digital, man. And one of my favorite people, man, Pat.
Yeah.
What's up, y'all?
What's going on, Pat?
Hey, man, thanks for having me.
Man, thanks for coming, man.
Nice.
Pat is a pillar in this fucking online comedy community. I'm trying to figure out somebody to parallel who Pat is in comedy. I'm trying to think musically somebody who represents what a Pat represents. I think Pat would be like a Puff Daddy.
Wow.
Yeah. Pat is like the Puff Daddy of urban online comedy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fly nigga. First of all, Pat's fly, gets all the bitches. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, I see him all the time, man. And but his ability and discernment of comedy, bro. When did you know you had the ability to recognize not only talent in yourself, but other people?
I don't know. I mean, I think it was probably way before social media, just because I was always looking at like the next stand-up comedians and really paying attention to that, even though I had no interest in comedy myself.
Right.
And even like artists that would, you know, grow up to like, you know, become like huge successes. I was always looking at them and I was be like, okay, I could see him going far. I don't really get the appeal of that. So I was always kind of looking at stuff like that. And then I just kind of like fell into the social media thing and just had to study because I started behind the camera.
Right,
which I think is important.
And you know what's crazy? I'm reversing what you did. You started behind, and I started in front, but now I'm studying and trying to learn the behind the scenes shit.
Okay.
Because I didn't really I understand the work of behind the scenes, but I didn't appreciate it until I started trying to produce my own content. Nigga, this shit is hard.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anybody that's trying to get into content that want to be in front of the camera, start behind the camera and learn that shit first. Because it gives you a newfound respect for the craft, right?
I think it ultimately makes you better in front of the camera too. Because I think that like understanding the show, like for instance, like Kraig, like this show itself, if I feel like even producing it and seeing, you guys can't see it, but there's like these giant screens with all these camera angles, like coming in and sitting down and doing your thing and then leaving is hard, is a very hard job to do. Talent has a very difficult job, but when you see all the other stuff and you're like, you understand like cameras and even simple things like walking on camera and not having your back to the camera, just like very simple things that will make you a better on camera too, just from, you know, producing it. So I think everybody should do it. It's ultimately gonna make their content better.
Most definitely, because I think what new niggas have the tendency to do when they're trying to create content, and you could probably vouch for this, niggas like me, because I've been this guy, we have very grandiose ideas of what the fuck we can do. Right. All kind of explosions and car chases and jumping out of airplanes and aliens and Martians, and nigga,
nah, for real,
that's not gonna happen on a YouTube budget, nigga.
I mean,
that's not gonna happen.
You'd be surprised how much that doesn't happen on a Hollywood budget.
Right.
You know? And that's the number one killer of ideas is like, I can't tell you how many ideas, you know, that were pitched to me, and within the first 7 seconds, I'm like, I don't know if we could do this.
It's not gonna work.
But I'll listen to the idea because I like, you know, the creative process. But it's like, if it's all off top, like the number one pitch I get is like, yo, we should do this show where like me and so go around the world and visit all these places.
He's trying to get free vacation.
I'm just like, what?
He's trying to get free vacations out here.
But you'd be surprised, like even early All Def, we had all these producers that had all this education and went to like school for being a producer. They didn't know how to make anything work without dressing rooms for the talent and trailers and all this crazy stuff. So we got to do it, like you were saying, working backwards. We got to start how do we do stuff with nothing. So now it's like when we get brand deals and bigger opportunities, we just know how to really like, you know, squeeze the juice out of every production.
Let's talk about the beginning, Pat, because a lot of people don't know. You worked your way up from the bottom.
Yeah.
When I met you, you were giving away mints in a porta potty.
These men humble beginnings.
Free niggas with you.
Yeah, that's what I said. I need to turn my shit around.
Yeah, I'm proud of you.
No, Pat was bringing lunches, and you motherfuckers that don't understand this Hollywood shit, you look at the glamorous part of it. Pat started at the bottom, nigga.
Assistant, then office PA, then equipment manager. Yeah, it was, you know, I was getting Russell vegan smoothies and all types of stuff, getting the CEOs painting their, cause I became the assistant of the vice president. And
sounds like a real rags to riches.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was crazy.
We're talking short dread, Pat. We're talking struggle dread.
Real short dread, like stupid, like wore dress shirts to work for no reason. No fucking reason. Everybody was like, "What are you doing?"
I lived a hard life.
No. I wasn't an assistant to Russell Simmons. It was another producer named Aaliyah Williams. Shout out to Aaliyah Williams. She brought me in, but then she ended up leaving. So I was just kind of like, all right, what am I doing here? And so I just found ways to make myself useful. And I know that all the CEOs were just moving into their offices. And I found this paint that let you paint on the walls and then you could write on the walls. So I was just like coordinating painters and green screen and setting everything up. And I didn't know anything about cameras. I was the equipment manager. So I was just all day just chilling with all these cameras and lights, looking them up and you know, just figuring out how to use them. But yeah, I was basically just like taking Jay Snow and Cynthia, they had their productions, and then like, you know, all the Kieran, I was basically like putting their equipment together, slating their productions, helping with camera, light, all that kind of stuff until they let me produce my own stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
When have you been wrong in the business? Where you were like, I was completely fucking wrong about that. I wish I would have just gave that more thought and consideration.
Okay, so I have I will talk about a time where I think that we as a collective were a little wrong. You know, I think that early all deaf, we were in the culture. There was a big internet culture of like nothing but sort of like racy jokes, sort of like sleazy kind of jokes, right. Because there was conflict. It got a lot of attention. So, you know, we had a couple of IPs called For the First Time and Is It True? That was based in a good concept. It was like, it was interesting. Like, you know, African Americans tried traditional African food for the first time. Or there was like some type of cultural thing, or, you know, is it true, disproving stereotypes. Once we ran out of the good ones, it started becoming very, very clickbaity and stuff. So it got to a point where internally it was still doing well, but we didn't really like it. We didn't really like outputting, but no one really said anything. And I remember there were murmurings of it, but once we did Black People Go Hiking for the first time,
oh, right.
And I was like, I go hiking every weekend. I just asked, like, because we had these like meetings with producers, and that's why we gave out like who produced what. And I just asked, I was like, can we just make it funny instead of like racially funny? Can we just focus on funny? And that kind of like, that was a turning point, because that's the first time I realized like, oh, everybody thought the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that was probably an example, and ever since then I'm kind of like just conscious about that kind of stuff.
That's amazing that you say that, especially being a comic. I can relate to that, right? Because to me, the truth is a common consciousness that the talented aren't willing to ignore. Like, there's a truth that resonates in every situation. There may be somebody with a purple afro or a kid that's musty or something going on, but the talented person is gonna say, I gotta figure out a way to articulate, because I know everybody's thinking this, but everybody's not gonna be equipped to say it.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? So where did you find the strength to be able to step out and go against the grain and just say, you know, I don't give a fuck what everybody's doing, man. This is what we should be doing.
Well, I try to move as strategically as possible, and I admittedly probably wouldn't have, I probably wouldn't have made that request or stood up like that if I was in the earlier part of my career. At that time, there was, so how it worked was there's a group of producers and we pitched ideas for the first time in Is It True, and we were assigned them, and whoever executed them the best or had the most viral hits was kind of just like celebrated in these producer meetings, and we got, you know, kind of like more opportunities. So it was me, and it was a producer named Desiree Alcarez, and she was destroying me. Like,
really?
Destroying me. Like, she did Black People Eat Thanksgiving at a White Family, like all these things that became like internet classics. She was destroying me on that. But I considered myself in second place, and I was producing original ideas. Like, it got to a point where I was pitching the ideas and all the producers were just making that stuff. So it kind of got me putting my foot in the door to the point where it felt low risk to say things like that. And I think that that's why it's important for people in certain positions to speak out. And I've just been annoying ever since. Just because, like, if I feel like something's not right, I'll definitely try my best to voice it, just because there could be a bunch of people in the room that think the same thing, but maybe don't want to feel like they're crossing a line.
And that's a very interesting line, because the truth is what you choose to believe, you know?
Right.
So sometimes it ain't even that it's the truth, it's who's presenting it. I can remember times in my life where I know I was right about something, and just because it was me saying it, niggas wasn't fucking with it.
Right.
And that is the most vulnerable position to be in as an artist, because you have to have the belief in self to stick around long enough and whatever it is you do, until your opinion carries some weight. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's real. I think that that's real. But I think that in this business and just in life, approach is everything. Like, how people say things, how people turn their thoughts into.
He thinking about karate chopping on your neck. What the fuck is on your mind, nigga?
It's Sonny's practice squad jacket you got on.
They gotta catch him all.
You got a scrimmage tomorrow.
This nigga's on his way to Herman Munster's house.
That was so just.
The show is random as fuck, man.
That nigga lean against the jukebox.
You don't got enough nickels to get over there.
This nigga went to a diner and got a milkshake going on.
Oh, those diners, they only sold milkshakes. Maybe it was vanilla and brown.
Too strong.
That's that Teen Wolf letter.
Hey, I got a question for everybody.
Oh, shit.
I got a question for everybody. What's more important? Think about it. What's more important? Money or cleanliness?
Go deeper. What you mean cleanliness? You talking about bodily cleanliness or cleanliness as far as?
I'm talking about body, like taking baths, showers, or having money.
What are we talking about important?
As far as like in the order of things, like how do you prioritize it? Like, is it like, hey, I got to get this money, or no, let me take a shower first, and
Would
then.
you rather be rich and musty?
Yeah.
Or poor and clean?
What comes first in the order of things you do?
Cleanliness. Yeah.
Cleanliness.
In the order of things, or important?
Importance, and level of importance in your life.
Cleanliness. Yeah.
Cleanliness?
Yeah. Because I mean, I can't even get to the rest of it if I feel like
How
I'm
much
dirty.
money we talking
She'll
here?
be.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
If we're just talking about money,
millions,
period.
Give me millions over being dirty. I take a shower once a week in this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Give me, if I got millions.
I thought maybe I'm thinking too deep into it.
Huh? Okay, well, fuck it. Y'all
Nah,
be,
deep
y'all be
is
clean
good.
and
You gotta
broke around this
realize
motherfucker
if
then.
you got money,
It's Kraigsmith. I'm a deep thinker.
Well, I thought you meant the concept of money, period, or the concept of cleanliness.
Okay, so you can build a construct, or you can jump underneath one that's already built. You can develop your own, whatever. Build the planet, and I relate to you on that level. You know what I'm saying?
Give me the million.
Whatever y'all interpretations of it is.
I say jump into the money.
Yeah.
You can have. I mean, we all seen Coming to America. You know what I mean? You could wake up and have somebody take care of your cleanliness, easy.
Right.
You know what I mean? The royal penis is clean. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'll take that. You feel what I'm saying? Get me out. You know what I mean?
Whoa.
We seen it. We
We
seen
ain't
it.
talking about dicks on TV.
But I mean,
We seen Coming to America,
I wouldn't
right?
be shouting out. Well,
I'm saying, Coming to America. I mean, who don't want to wake up with a bath or a shower like that? A bath like that. Y'all don't want that?
I just feel like disease and everything comes with you being unclean. So if you're not already a healthy person, you can't get the rest of it, or you can't enjoy the rest of it.
Right,
so
right.
I would start with the cleanliness.
If
Ain't nobody gonna give you money dirty though.
if you're the cleanest person on Skid Row, what does that matter?
Right.